Sydney's eastern suburbs are home to some of the most expensive real estate in Australia. In 2019, steel baron Sanjeev Gupta joined the neighbourhood with his purchase of a $34 million harbourside mansion. It's a display of wealth at odds with Gupta's corporate debts, with creditors owed tens of millions from his Australian businesses, amid concerns about their solvency.
Hi there. I was just hoping to ask whether Mr. Gupta is there.
I mean, right now, it looks like the Titanic going full steam ahead towards the iceberg in broad daylight. Everyone can see what's coming up.
From this week, about 400 workers are at home temporarily on full pay from Gupta's Tahmoor coal mine in New South Wales after suppliers stopped deliveries over unpaid bills. In South Australia, where he owns the Whyalla Steelworks, the state government is owed many months' worth of royalties and the state's water utility is owed $15 million.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty about Whyalla and the steelworks, and that uncertainty can be fixed up right now with this simple move by Mr. Gupta and GFG. Pay your bills, invest in the steelworks, and help Whyalla have a much more positive future.
Gupta was lauded for rescuing ailing steel mills across the globe, and in 2017 he saved Whyalla Steelworks from administration. He's gone from so-called saviour of steel to struggling to keep his global empire afloat.
I think everywhere you look, Mr. Gupta is in trouble.
South Australian Independent MP Frank Pangallo says the state and federal governments too readily accepted Gupta's good news announcements, including a promise of a major upgrade of the Whyalla plant, which is yet to happen.
The community has been absolutely, I have no words to describe how committed and how driving it has been in terms of our aspirations.
What's really disappointing is that Mr. Gupta kept coming to Australia and to Whyalla with all these big plans of spending big money there, and he had politicians, prime ministers, premiers eating out of his hand, nodding away, and they just, seemed to just swallow everything that he had to say.
I think the story of Mr. Gupta's businesses in Australia should be a cautionary tale. It did seem too good to be true.
GFG Alliance is a collection of global businesses and investments.
Sanjeev Gupta's businesses sit within the broader GFG Alliance. The conglomerate's early financing came from Greensill Capital, but that business collapsed in 2021, with the UK's Serious Fraud Office now investigating the relationship between the two firms over suspicions of fraud, fraudulent trading and money laundering. GFG Alliance denies any wrongdoing.
It seemed to be a business strategy that depended on continually raising more debt and having access to cheap debt. Both of those things are difficult or impossible for Mr. Gupta's business at the moment, and so that business model certainly seems to be broken.
In a statement to 7:30, Mr. Gupta said he was vigorously finalising new financing to pay creditors and get his operations back on track. But the process had taken a bit longer than anticipated, although he remained confident of its delivery.
There are different reports being put about whether or not they've secured that facility and been able to get that loan. I think it is well beyond time that the information be provided. If it's been secured, then prove it.
Once the credit markets believe that you're a very risky proposition and that you might not be able to repay the debt, sometimes it can cause a death spiral in a business, and it then becomes impossible to raise credit, which pushes the company into insolvency.
Gupta is being prosecuted in the UK over his failure to file accounts for more than 70 companies. Unaudited accounts have since been finalised, but filings are overdue for his businesses in Australia. Corporate regulator ASIC told 7:30 it is aware of concerns about GFG's operations and is monitoring the situation.
If we had regulators like ASIC that were taking more action earlier, we would actually see some better outcomes before it's too late.
Gupta is selling or closing unviable businesses in Europe. Frank Pangallo is urging the federal government to consider an equity stake in the Whyalla Steelworks to guarantee its future and that of 1,000 workers.
It's almost time for the last rites for Mr Gupta, and both the state and Commonwealth government need to get off their backsides and do something.
Would you consider an equity stake in the Steelworks?
It's too early to be jumping at hypotheticals about what's going on, but as a government, we have been thinking deeply about the future of Australian steel. And in terms of Whyalla, we've been working closely with the South Australian government. We're adamant that steel making continue in Whyalla.
What are your contingency plans?
Look, at the point, those details will be released at the point that they need to be released.
Whyalla Steelworks isn't currently at full production after months-long technical issues affecting the blast furnace. Gupta has ambitions to transform the plant into a more environmentally friendly manufacturer of green steel at an estimated cost of up to $3 billion. The federal government has pledged $63 million towards the upgrade and has handed over $10 million.
You just cannot keep kicking this rusty steel can down the road. That place needs to be revitalised. It needs to be put into the hands of an operator that has the credentials, it has the financial backing, and is able to visualise a dream of reinvigorating the steelworks.
Sanjeev Gupta says he's optimistic 2025 will see the start of a recovery in steel markets and the Whyalla plant will emerge stronger than before. But he hasn't won any fans with his recently approved application to renovate his multi-million-dollar Sydney mansion, including construction of a new pool.
It's all about the looks for him, the looks and, the image of being wealthy and successful.
I do really feel for Whyalla businesses, regionally based businesses should not be put under the degree of pressure that they have because bills haven't been paid.